Hello and welcome to the Talk BGKY podcast, the official podcast for the city of Bowling Green. We've got an exciting episode today. Summer is ending. We're turning our attention to fall here in Bowling Green, Kentucky. A really exciting time to be in our community. So we're going to talk Harvest Fest today. I've got some special guests with me that are going to give you all the fun information, all the details, get you revved up and excited to enjoy fall in Bowling Green, Kentucky. So I'll start with Emily and we'll introduce ourselves.
Yes, my name is Emily Angel. I'm with the City of Bowling Green, the Community Engagement Coordinator. I have been a part of Harvest Festival, was part of the inception of Harvest Festival, and before it even began, I was a part of it, so.
Karen?
I'm Karen Foley. I'm the Neighborhood Services Coordinator for the City of Bowling Green. Have also been with Harvest Festival as part of the original organizers. And Emily is being very humble, but she is the lead organizer and coordinator, the Harvest Festival princess, as it were, since its beginning. But she's our lead wrangler that keeps all of the things going.
Absolutely makes it happen. So that's awesome. All right, last but not least.
And I am Jose Gonzalez. I manage Mercadito Hispano. I work with the Code Enforcement and Nuisance Board, and this is my second year assisting with the Harvest Festival in the Fountain Square area.
Awesome.
And bringing all of the awesomeness to Fountain Square.
We do all of the Day of the Dead theme stuff, all of the Latino diverse foods. Hopefully this year we'll be that much more organized.
I love it. And you know, it truly is. We'll, of course, get into details here in a minute, but, you know, adding the Day of the Dead element a couple years ago in Fountain Square, such a great depiction of our community and the diversity that we have here in Bowling Green and Warren County to add that element. It also allows us to really take up all of downtown, right? And you know, make people experience every corner of what we have to offer, from Fountain Square Park to Circus Square to Soki Marketplace. So yeah, great addition, and excited to hear more about it here in a little bit. So I'll start out. I would love to just get everybody's quick hit thoughts on what your favorite part about fall in Bowling Green, Kentucky is, because it really is such a special time. Every season is special in Bowling Green and Warren County, but what is your all's favorite part about fall?
When the weather cooperates.
That's right.
I should say, when the weather acts how the weather should. A beautiful fall day is amazing. There's nothing like crisp air, cool mornings, where then it kind of gets a little warmer in the afternoons.
We're all tired of summer temps by that time.
Yes,
Yep,
I'll take it.
for sure. I love it. That's awesome. Karen, what about you?
I'm always the worst about asking what is the favorite thing about anything, because
Sure.
I have lots of favorites.
Love it.
But I do enjoy the activity that fall brings with it,
Sure.
because and it's just a great opportunity for neighborhoods to do things. It's a great opportunity for families to get together and do things. People seem to take a lot of community pride all throughout fall, perhaps more so than any other holiday season. I don't know, arguably. You know, you see people decorating with scarecrows and pumpkins and mums and all of that, and people can kind of just make it whatever they want to. And because of the weather, you know, people get to spend time outside, and if you only trick or treat once a year, for some people, that's the only time they really see their neighbors face to face. So
Sure.
I like all of that part of it.
Very well said. I love it. Yeah, it really does bring community together. That's amazing. Jose, what about you?
Well, honestly, Karen took the words right out of my mouth. Community is honestly the best part of it, because everybody's allowed to be outside. So I'd say here in Bowling Green we have a great spring and a great fall, and then, you know, summers just tend to be hot, humid, and
Sure.
it's unbearable. But back in fall, we've got the great colors of the trees and everything. I personally start to do all my barbecuing that time of the year because it's very manageable outside. You're not getting all sweaty. Honestly, yeah, just being together outside with people, getting some sunlight and some fresh air and enjoying it. Like,
Absolutely.
Kentucky has a lot to offer.
No, that's very well said too. Yeah, fall's just a fantastic time to enjoy, you know, our community here. Like Karen said, there's so much activity, so many things that you can do with your family in and around downtown. Other communities around Bowling Green offer so many great things. So we're very fortunate. Let's talk about and kind of introduce the listeners to the history of Harvest Festival.
There's kind of two stories with it.
Okay, love it.
The birth of the idea of having a bigger community fall event. And that, honestly, that came thanks to the Bowling Green Parks and Rec Department. They had this wonderful event, Pumpkin Palooza. They used to always do it at Coomer Little, and with that, it's all the tons of pumpkins, little pumpkins that kids had decorated. It was just a fun little thing. With talking to them and what they were doing, they invited us if we wanted to join them.
This was also about the time we were starting our BGKY to go neighborhood outreach.
Sure.
And so we were sort of looking for these opportunities for us to do this pop-up presence at either neighborhood events or other special events. We would come and bring our tent, and you could get information about jobs we were hiring for. You could get information about services that were going on. But the initial impetus was like, hey, here's this smaller event. It's downtown at Circus Square. And I think the first night that SkyPack happened to have a show that was Peppa Pig. Now, this is going to be a lot of parents and littles that would be coming downtown to go to the SkyPack show. And so this Pumpkin Palooza was actually right before kind of the time when people would be arriving early for that show. And so it started kind of just really small. But we were kind of thinking, you know, there are lots of fall things to do in Bowling Green, Warren County, don't get me wrong. But we really didn't have something that was specific to downtown. And so we started kind of with that Pumpkin Palooza, just kind of, well, let's see. And we had people who came over to our tent, you know,
Sure.
really leading up to the Peppa Pig. They came over, they were looking at the pumpkins, they were seeing the things that we had under our tent.
So it's
And-
kind of this age-old like approach and thought that we're going to be bringing people to a space. In this case, they were coming down to SkyPack for a show.
Yes.
How can we enhance their experience when
Well,
they come down? Give them something else to do.
And at the time, we wanted people to know, hey, you can come downtown. There's places to park. It's easy
Sure.
to get here. Look how beautiful this park is. More people need to come and enjoy this park. After the first event and we saw Pumpkin Palooza, Karen and I were both like, oh, this is an awesome thing. It was an awesome thing they're doing.
Absolutely.
In 2016 was the first year we had Pumpkin Palooza, and then in 2017 the library joined Pumpkin Palooza with a large pumpkin patch, and in 2018 that's whenever the first year of the Harvest Festival.
The thing also that's really cool about sort of this evolution is, you know, the library was a big partner, and then of course Soki Marketplace was also a big partner. Of course, we're running a farmer's market on Saturdays. They had contacts with vendors and some different folks, and pretty early on, when we started with sort of that 2018 with that new brand, we were reaching out to these other community partners to say, hey, what can you bring and to add to Harvest Festival and be part of the planning of this? Every year it has evolved and changed a little bit. Some of the key partners have, you know, been more primary in some years and more secondary in other years, which is fine. But that's just part of the beauty of responding to what the needs are in the community, what the areas of emphasis and priority are in the community. You know, Soki Marketplace has this great outdoor pavilion, and it has become activated a lot. And so if there's a theme that continues every year, it is that we're trying to bring in anybody who's trying to do an event during that time in the downtown area. We want to make sure that people have a variety of things that they could kind of plug into and say, hey, I want to go do that, plan their day. And it's something that's across the ages and across, you know, different interests. So Soki Marketplace has been a key part of that because they have a connection with vendors, music, food. They have this big outdoor venue. And so, especially in the more recent years, they've been like a key organizing part of that. And then that's allowed us to launch other kinds of events with them, coordinating with them.
I'm glad you went down that road too, because you know that approach of bringing in all these community partners and all these community organizations that either are already doing fantastic events, offering fantastic services, programs for the community, or are interested in coming up with something or just being a part of the events that we're doing with the city and the county. That truly has become like a cornerstone of how we approach what we do, these large scale events. And, you know, if the community doesn't know it by now or realize it, planning for these events starts, you know, months before the event, and it's all these community partners getting in this room together and figuring out, you know, overarching, how can we provide a great experience for the people that live here? Like, how can we enhance the spaces that they're using and make them enjoyable through what we do? And that honestly is a joy, you know, for me, and I think you all would agree, like, as part of our job, to be able to connect with so many people and be able to bring in these other elements that we wouldn't be able to do ourselves if it wasn't for these community partners.
Having that attitude about it is really awesome because, for example, the Rail Park is another organization that's kind of been part of this Harvest Festival planning from the beginning. So even before they had a trolley, you know, they had these unseen Bowling Green tours and other things that they were trying to promote during the same season. It was like, hey, they could bring their characters out. They could bring the little Toot train out, the ways that they could connect in, and then that's going to drive community interest towards what they're doing.
Sure.
And Jose, like, that's a prime example.
Yep.
You know, we had talked, Emily was like, hey, I would really, you know, it would be awesome if the Fountain Square could be sort of this Day of the Dead themed. And actually, one of the early Harvest Festivals was when Coco, the movie Coco, oh my gosh, it's one of my favorites. But it was fairly new released, and we had an inflatable movie screen. We're like, we're playing Coco. We're at a Harvest Festival. That's going to be a key part of it. And just, you know, people could come and see it. And so from there, I had heard of Day of the Dead, but I didn't really have any idea what it was about until I saw the movie Coco.
Yeah.
And I know that's an animated movie, that's a specific thing. However, that was like, hey, I want to know more about this.
Your introduction to
That was my introduction to it. So, you know, sort of early on in the Harvest Festival days. And then we noticed someone was doing, was it called Fall Fiesta? Was that the event?
Yeah, in 2022 we did the Fall Fiesta at Southern Lanes, and it turned out that was competing with the same day as the Harvest Festival. So naturally, to Emily, it just seemed a no-brainer. Bring us in the next year, tie it all in together, put everybody on the same map, and just have them enjoy the entirety of what Bowling Green has to offer that day.
Well,
Absolutely.
I mean, why compete?
For sure.
Exactly.
We have
And
all of these events.
exactly.
There's no need. No need to compete.
And it
Let's
was
do
funny,
it together.
on another corner of it, you know, our Parks Department had a Special Olympics event at Southern Lanes and was competing with that same event. And now we're all sitting in the same room talking about Harvest Fest 2024. And
Hey, I've
it's
always
just
been,
cool how it works
let's
out
all
that
get
way.
the same table. Let's work
Yeah,
together.
no doubt.
Let's work together.
So Jose, it's a really good transition, you know, obviously into, you know, we're talking community partners, and obviously you're a huge one. You're taking, you know, not just a piece of the pie, if you will, at Circus Square, but you're taking an entire park downtown and helping us create an experience as part of Harvest Fest. So just talk about, you know, a little bit about Day of the Dead and how that aspect of Harvest Fest is kind of evolving, you know, from last year, really the first year that we were able to do it, and into this coming year.
Right, so I am absolutely honored to be part of this because I feel like it's a larger position than I'd really hoped for. It's great that I get the entire park because we have over a dozen different food trucks and vendors of different Latin American cultures. For me, it was originally just an opportunity to have all these small businesses promote themselves in a way that isn't common around here. Putting them on this stage with everyone else to share is an excellent opportunity just to cross cultures and cross different demographics in the entirety of Bowling Green and the surrounding areas. Because, I mean, last year we had something over 10,000 people show up. Like, that's a lot of people. You know, it's not just Bowling Green that's participating.
All of the food trucks sold out.
Oh, yes. We planned
was
on
a
being
hit.
here till 6 p.m. and we were all done by like 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
The only person that was still selling was Olympia Gaspar, and she was face painting with a 1 hour line. So this year we're hoping to have a little more assistance for her and a little more variety so that people don't have to wait, even though she did a great job
Fantastic
and we applaud
problem
her.
to have, though. Yep.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
no doubt.
But no, so Day of the Dead itself is really just a celebration of our ancestors, you know, sort of a day for us to, in a sense, channel them. In different cultures, maybe you'll go to their graveyard on their birthday or something, or the day they passed. Day of the Dead is sort of a more cumulative thing where everybody, like your neighbors, everybody in the community can just sort of remember their ancestry and celebrate it in a positive way, as opposed to, you know, in a state of mourning, and really just enjoy yourselves. I mean, appreciate the fact that we exist, that we are here, that we have life, you know.
And I appreciate so much, you know, the opportunity to, you know, have the community, myself, you know, our families learn and be educated on, you know, another culture. And that's the beauty of the diversity that we have in Bowling Green and Warren County. But with Harvest Fest, we get to experience that. It's a lived experience, where you also get to learn about another culture. And I think that's a fantastic opportunity for, you know, our community to be able to take advantage of. So, and another question I'll go ahead and throw out to you too. Like, what do you What do you feel, that the opportunity to be a part of Harvest Fest, to offer up something, as culturally specific as Day of the Dead, Fountain Square Park, how do you feel that helps represent the diversity in our community and how special Bowling Green and Warren County is?
Yeah, well, I definitely feel that it's very important because my family came here in the 90s. Work brought them from California. They brought the whole workforce, so there was a huge influx of Latinos in Bowling Green during that time. We've steadily grown. Like, those families have had children, grandchildren, so we've had people move in. Going back to having other people learn about the cultures, I think it's important because we're all living together now.
Sure.
And you kind of want to understand where it is that people come from, what common moralities we have, what we share in terms of our ideologies, because there is a lot of difference, a lot of divisiveness across the world. So sometimes it's just nice to step back and see the common ground that we have. Like,
Sure.
the fact that we are all family oriented, we all love our children, we all want the best for ourselves and, our posterity. So events like this, we're riding right off the coattails of the International Festival, which is maybe just a month beforehand. So we're still celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month in September, and we're sort of pushing it in, a little bit more to just really squeeze out the juice. But it is, again, as you said, it's a great opportunity for us to learn. Karen had mentioned Coco. A lot of people have watched the movie and fallen in love with it. There's a whole lore behind it that you don't realize. It's very fantastical, whimsical, and beautiful. That movie has brought a lot of tears to people's eyes, I think I watched it the first 3 times I watched it. It'll probably still make me cry.
Well, obviously we could sit here and talk all day about the fantastic impact and that Disney has, when they release a film like that. But at the same time, in a much smaller way, here in Bowling Green and Warren County, you're helping provide that same thing in Fountain Square Park and creating an impact and introducing people to something they may never have experienced before. I think that provides such a cool aspect of Harvest Fest. Without a doubt, we appreciate, the work that you're putting in and all the folks that you bring in to help you, make that Day of the Dead area come to life. So let's transition to, because we just talked about an entire aspect of Harvest Fest and Fountain Square. So let's talk about, when we think about downtown, we've got Fountain Square Park, and then we've got our Capitol alleyway that starts to move towards Circus Square Park, Candy Corn Lane, right? Hopefully that comes to life a little bit this year. That's always exciting. Candy Corn Lane for Harvest Fest, Candy Cane Lane for Downtown Lights Up. So that's a fun thing. But when we move into Circus Square and Soki Marketplace, we'll talk Circus Square first. What does Circus Square look like during Harvest Fest?
Well, before we get into that, I want to say the reason we stretched it was was one, it was out of necessity.
Sure.
We wanted, out of necessity, 2020 happened. And when 2021, when we came back, after taking our break for the year.
We try to forget that year.
Yes. But it happened. What that did was it stretched us. We wanted to give an event to allow people space.
Sure.
Still enjoy a community, a reason to come out. We still wanted to celebrate and do something. We grew out of necessity. In 2022, it kind of was like, okay, because of that happened, because of our stretch, then we got to grow it. So that's whenever we could grow it, inviting Jose to take over last year. So 2022, we decorated and we grew. We had the idea of Day of the Dead and Leda and Laura. So they took it and they did a beautiful job with what they did.
Honestly, too, like you're talking about COVID, Emily, and I made reference and said we like to forget that year, but in a lot of ways we don't like to forget that year because it really did.
It challenged us.
Yeah, and it forced the growth of community events like this. It kind of showed us that, again, we had to spread things out, but then we also realized, man, we really want to spread things out. Like, we want to, have these opportunities for people to experience all of downtown.
It's important to reference it.
For sure, yeah.
In this event, because one, there is a year that we took a pause.
Yep.
But then there is a method to our madness.
Absolutely, yeah.
Whenever we do something, I always like to say anything with Harvest Festival is all about throwing paint on the wall and we'll see what sticks.
There you go.
With the challenge of needing to create space, it then was like, okay, well, now that we've done this, I'm not shrinking it back. I can't. I'm not taking it away.
Whenever we have an opportunity to sort of step out of whatever the box we think it is, whether it's this particular park or that particular location, and get people moving, between the different parts of downtown, utilizing our greenway system, using our sidewalks. We try to take advantage of that. And so over the years, whether it's, hey, Tidballs is having a Rock Band Academy showcase and they're doing a maker's fair on their lot, or if it's, hey, something's going to be over at the Stadium Park Plaza, or hey, something's going to be in the parking lot at BGMU on that day. We try to include that on our footprint and let people know, hey, you can just walk a block or 2 blocks that way and go check out something someone else is doing. And what that does is it encourages people and trains people how walkable our downtown can be.
Sure.
And that there's more than just that one place you're used to going to.
Let's talk a little bit about,
yeah.
you know, some of the activities that happen in Circus Square as part of Harvest Fest. There's tons to do.
I know.
So let's unpack it all.
I mean, how can you not talk about pumpkin splat? Okay, so I had this crazy idea. What was this? In my belief of there are no big ask. Just ask the question.
Yeah.
I approached the fire department and I said, it would be really cool if you guys brought your ladder truck down, took it up in the air, which I think is 100 feet?
It's 100 feet.
100 feet in the air.
10 stories.
I said, I will go buy the biggest pumpkins that I can possibly find. I was like, would you all be so kind to drop them from the ladder truck and make a mess?
And there's no way they were against that.
They were not. I had no.
I
they
can't
had no
imagine somebody
hesitation.
not wanting to be a part of that.
There was no
Yeah.
hesitation. There was a little bit of look of like, what made you think of that? But that is really cool. And yes,
I love it.
and it's kind of
And it brings the crowds in. I mean, so it's typically every like 30, 45 minutes or on the hour.
I want to keep it simple, so I try to say the top of every hour
Sure. Yep.
because that just kind of.
We give a little countdown, you know, we let people know, hey, 10, 15 minutes, next
And-
pumpkin drop.
Yes.
And they come. I mean,
They absolutely do.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I think the first year we dropped 4. We dropped 4 pumpkins the first year. And then I think last year we dropped 6. This year I think we might be able to squeeze in 5
cool.
with our time. So I think we're going to try to do 5 pumpkins. I'm still trying to figure out. I'm going to have to probably talk. Are we going to drop the first one at 11?
We'll see.
I'm not sure. So, I mean, get there at 11 o'clock. We might drop the first pumpkin right away.
You don't want to miss it.
You don't want to miss it. What I love about Harvest Festival, I think I've talked about this before. This is really kind of, you have to come to Harvest Festival to see this magic. You have to come. We don't do it any other time of the year. You know, yes, there are other times. There are food trucks at other events. Absolutely. Wonderful food trucks. During Harvest Festival, this is the only time you're going to come and see the magic and beauty of fall. A little bit of Halloween decorations in there, but it showcases a beautiful, relaxed environment. It's not a crazy environment, except for the top of every hour
Yeah, when we drop a pumpkin.
when we drop a pumpkin.
Great way to put it, too. I mean, it truly is a magical time, you know, to
Yes.
experience the parks downtown and just be able to celebrate the fall season.
Well, and I want to add too, because another important element of Harvest Festival, and I think it's added to the magic of it, is I wanted to create yes spaces. I wanted to create a space that a family can bring their kids. Maybe they have a couple. Maybe they have one. Parent as myself, I know what it's like to go somewhere and be like, I don't know how much money I have to make
Sure.
to stretch out, right? I might be able to feed you, we get something at the food truck, absolutely, I can pay for that. But whenever you go to sometimes something that has a lot of games or a lot of activities, there's a cost. I wanted to make Circus Square Park a yes space, where if you walk in there, if your kids see something happening at Circus Square Park, you can say yes to whatever it is. Because
That's wonderful.
it doesn't cost you anything. Now, the vendors, everybody knows if you buy something that has a cost. So we do have kid-oriented things like stuffed animals or some different food or whatever that will cost. But it's free to watch the pumpkin drop. It's free. Warren County Parks and Rec, they bring inflatables and they have some other games. Everything that you do at Midway and all of the games and the activities that are there, they're free.
A couple of the other things that are also without cost, the Croptoberfest. that happens over at Soke Marketplace. So sort of the history of that, Harvest Festivals seem to fall on the same weekend as the last outdoor farmers market of the season at Soke Marketplace. As a part of that, they've incorporated something that they call Croptoberfest. And Croptoberfest includes like some public art that people can participate in. They have music on the lot over there. Of course, they do have market vendors and that sort of thing, and food trucks, which you would pay for that. But that music is at no cost. Participating in some of the Croptoberfest, the art that they do, the other displays and things that they have over there, that doesn't cost anything either. And then this year we have, in addition, this year SkyPack is having their community day on the same day as Harvest Festival. And we're still waiting to hear all the details of what that's going to include, but it's basically a community open house under SkyPack where they can kind of showcase the different programs and offerings that they provide all year round. And so that's going to be a really neat feature, I think, this year, because that's an indoor space where, people will, and I'm going to let SkyPack drop all the details about that. But that's something else to look forward to, and that is another thing that is age-friendly. All of these sort of different spaces are age-friendly spaces. So whether you are, and we like to say 8 or 80, anywhere in between or younger or older, over the course of the day of Harvest Festival, there's something that you could participate in.
That's awesome.
Absolutely, no. But
It's
with anything
truly
we
something
do,
for everybody.
do not feel like I don't have a child, I can't go.
Yep.
Please, no. There's a piece in every park of something
Every
that you're going to enjoy.
age, every household. I mean,
Yeah.
truly, there's something for everybody to enjoy. Which I think is again, just such a special place
Oh.
to be. I mean, we are truly blessed to be in the community that we are, and to work in the space that we get to work in and bring these experiences to people is an honor. As Jose mentioned, it's an honor to be a part of this. Listen, it's an honor for us to be able to do what we do, and just to see the smiles on people's faces when they come to the park for Harvest Fest and every other event that we offer that's the motivation, I think. We're very excited as we inch closer to October 19th to welcome everybody to downtown Bowling Green. Come experience fall with us here in our beautiful community. Thank you to Emily, Karen, and Jose for joining us today. And this has been another episode of the Talk BGKY podcast, the official podcast for the city of Bowling Green. I'm Cameron Levis with Bowling Green Parks and Rec. Thank you for joining us.
Happy fall, y'all.